All right, all right. How's it going, everyone? Happy Friday. Nick Marro DFS here with Smitty, as always, helping you break down tonight's NBA DFS main slate on both DraftKings and FanDuel for Occupy Fantasy. Nice six-game slate tonight, 7 games over on FanDuel. And yeah, it's been a week of really short slates. We've had the NBA Cup, a lot of these two-gamers. We had one four-gamer wedged in there, but it's been a while since we've had this many games to go through, Smitty. Definitely looking forward to it. How you feel going in here?
Yeah, pretty happy to have like a normal slate, even though half of it or more than half locks at lock. So it'll be a busy one.
Yeah, for sure. As always, guys, we're going to go through game by game. We'll touch on all your questions as those games come up and we're going through. Yeah, so I do have the model pulled up. I will say we just got news that Maxi's going to be out. Things are going to change pretty quickly here. Normally, I try not to do a refresh during the stream to get some of you guys behind the paywall, but today we're certainly going to have to do a refresh soon. So in a little bit, we'll do that. But first, let's go to a game here where I don't think we're going to have to do much refreshing. We got the Atlanta Hawks taking on the Detroit Pistons. Atlanta underdogs on the road here, 232.5 point total. Talking about Atlanta first, we got Porzingis out, Trey Young out, as always. Bunch of G Leaguers listed here as well. I will get to the shout outs as well, guys, in just a second, but just wanted to dive in here. But yeah, man, I mean, not the best matchup here for Atlanta, but Jalen Johnson's been tremendous. He's had some pretty big games in this matchup already this year. We got a Kongwu on the cover today. Definitely more appealing over on DK, where he has forward eligibility and he's a little bit cheaper. Decent spot for him, though. I think he's certainly playable. Don't mind getting to him if he's going to play the minutes we have him projected for. Alexander Walker can be scoring dependent at times, but he's shown a really high ceiling. His price is up to a point now where I think he's about where he should be. But yeah, you said it already. A lot of these games lock early. I'm very comfortable getting to plenty of exposure early, though. I don't think there's a ton we're waiting on. The biggest news seems to have already come in. I like this Atlanta team here. I know it's a tough matchup, but Johnson looks great to me. Fine mixing in some Okongwu Walker, maybe a little bit of Ricochet, but really Johnson kind of the key piece for me if I can afford him. Smitty, how do you feel about the Hawks here in Detroit?
Yeah, I like Jalen Johnson quite a bit. He just continues to do it no matter what. The minutes are there. If this game's competitive, it's definitely him. So I do like him. I do think Okongwu looks okay on FanDuel. Looks pretty good there. Nikhil Alexander Walker, another guy that I do think looks pretty good. It's basically them three. I'm getting to a little bit of Dyson. I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. I think he's just kind of fine. Like he's kind of a filler. But yeah, Jalen Johnson looks like a premier play. There's a few spin ups, but a few of them just got ruled out. So I do think his ownership probably comes up a little bit. Plus, his recent performances probably influence that too. So wouldn't expect him to be like 20% like we have. He's probably more in the 30 range, but still a good play.
Yeah, I totally agree. Even if that ownership comes up, definitely a good play. And looking at OF index for the entire slate, and this includes that game on FanDuel, he is the top OF index play today. The second play we have, nice little segue here, is going to be Cade Cunningham for Detroit in this matchup here against Atlanta. Really, no significant injuries for them at all here. Just a bunch of G Leaguers, Isaac Jones, and I don't know. I don't even want to read these names. It's a waste of time. But Cade looks pretty good here. Like I said, second high FO index play on the slate. Probably about half the ownership of a Jalen Johnson. I mean, it would be pretty fun to game stack here with those two if you can. At the same time, going to be really tough if you can't find the value in the other games because they are two of the more expensive plays we do have available. But the ceiling's tremendous. Jalen Duren, he's come back down to earth a little bit. I mean, he'd been smashing earlier this year. Still has the 40 to 50 point upside. We just haven't been seeing it as frequently lately. I actually don't know that Porzingis being out is really going to help this matchup a ton for him. But regardless, he's a decent play. I just think we have a lot of good value centers tonight. I mean, guys like Thompson, Harris, Robinson are all fine to mix in. Really, no priorities for me. But I do think Cade is worth mentioning as like a really, really strong tournament play, especially if that ownership holds and we see more of it going to Johnson. It's just a logical pivot. And if Detroit outplays Atlanta, there's certainly a world where we could see Cade outscoring Johnson. So I like them both. Would love to fit them if I can. Probably can't though. But I do like Cade in tournaments. Don't mind mixing in some of the other starters. Smitty, how do you feel about the Pistons?
Yep, pretty much the same. I think Cade definitely looks the best. I do like that. Asar, Tobias are kind of dudes that I'm mixing in as like that mid range kind of value plays. Model thinks they're both pretty good. Don't mind either of them. and Cade. That's pretty much it. I think Duran's a pretty good tournament play. We have a lot of cheap centers that are going to draw a lot of ownership. So if Duran goes and gets you 50, it could make a difference on this slate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the ceiling is there for him. Just because we haven't seen it recently doesn't mean it's still not in his range of outcomes. So, obviously, we could see that here against a pretty thin Atlanta front court. I'm going to refresh the model, guys. Hopefully, we get this Maxi stuff to come in. While I do that, we'll get to some of the shout outs here. Shouts out Ben being here early, Heath, HB Cards, Luke, even before we went live. All these guys were in here. Appreciate you all. Nick Lovett saying, let's get this money. Shwee Dog, not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, man, but appreciate you. And then Jose with the question on this game, the Maxi news. Not on this game, but on Maxi, with him being outranked the Philly guards. We will do that for sure, Jose, when we get to that game. That's part of why I just refreshed the model. Still waiting on that data to update, but Smitty and I did talk briefly pre-stream. We won't go into this now, but we'll get to that game soon. But if McCain starts, he's going to look great. Otherwise, everyone else. And then, yeah, Detroit defense could neutralize Johnson. I mean, a little bit. Durant isn't the best defensive center. I mean, if they do throw Stu out there on him a little bit, it could help. Obviously, Thompson, a good defender, but we've seen this matchup before, right? Just quickly looking at the game logs here, he pushed 60 points in Detroit back on the first of the month. He had 56 against them on the 18th. I think that might have had Porzingis in there. So, yeah, I mean, he's still scoring 50 to 60 fantasy points in this matchup. In raw points, I mean, we say on the smaller slates they really matter, but if he's scoring you 60, you're probably feeling pretty good about it. So I do like Jalen Johnson here. But let's get into the next game now. We get the Bulls taking on the Charlotte Hornets here. Bulls just had a ton of news come out. I think it's more guys are in than out, though. So no Ao Donsumu. Trey Jones is now probable. Kevin Herter still out. Isaac Okoro now probable, but on a minutes limit. Kobe White and Jalen Smith are both probable. So a little bit healthier than they have been. I mean, Giddy still looks good, but his huge ceiling games have mostly come without Kobe White available. I still think he has it in his range of outcomes, but if I could find the salary to get to a Cater Johnson, it's tough for me to get to a ton of Giddy here, even in a good matchup. I don't mind Kobe White. He is scoring dependent. The price is fine on him. Other than that, it's kind of tricky. Like Trey Jones at his price is fine. Again, we have no Herter and Donsumu. That should benefit someone like Jones. He's just generally kind of inconsistent. But if you're looking for value at guard, we have some really good ones in this game we'll talk about in a second. I don't mind getting a little bit of Trey. But again, I like Giddy. I'm fine with White. I'm fine with Jones. I mean, you can make a case for Vooch. The starters look okay, but really nothing I'm prioritizing. It is a good game environment, Smitty, though. Is there any Bulls that you're really keying in on?
No, pretty much the same for me. White's the easiest to get to, so that's who I'm getting to the most currently. Giddy, you can make a case for, but ultimately, I think there's payups that just look better. But I don't mind getting there in tournaments. We're playing a lot of Charlotte, so it makes sense to maybe have a piece from the Bulls. So I don't mind a Giddy or a White, and then I have a little bit of Vooch, but that's mainly it. I will mention the model likes Matos. Kind of scary, but as a tournament play, I don't mind it.
Yeah, I mean, he has shown pretty serious upside. I don't mind it at all. At his price, not very popular, so he does make some sense as the run back. And I mentioned Trey Jones. I do just want to say I think Okoro starts. Jones probably comes off the bench, but that doesn't hurt Jones's upside, in my opinion, as a value play. You mentioned it, though. Probably playing a lot of Charlotte tonight. We got no LaMelo Ball, no Pat Connaughton. Diabate is available, but no Trey Mann, Colin Sexton, or Grant Williams, who's been out for pretty much the entire year. But what that means is they are very, very thin in the backcourt. We are probably going to see Kenneth, aka KJ Simpson, get the start here. Back-to-back games where he's played 28 plus minutes, scored around 25 fantasy points. We have some other guard value opening up, but I do still like him a lot. The model doesn't like him as much as I was kind of hoping it would, and I think it's mostly because of the minutes. I think there is a world where he gets a little bit of extra run here, but at the same time, pretty good at his price. Just a nice value piece. Probably gets you close to 30 fantasy points. Bridges, hyper inconsistent, even with guys off the floor. I do think he has enough upside to consider here in tournaments, but I like Con Canoopla a lot. I think he's underowned. I think Brandon Miller is rightful chalk. Those two as wing plays look really, really solid to me. You could dig into this bench a little bit. It is a big slate. We don't have to go as deep as we have been on some of these two game slates. But yeah, I really like Simpson. I really think Bridges and Canoopel are solid. Canoopel more so in tournaments because he's not as popular. But yeah, all the wings and Simpson for sure. But Smitty, tell me how you're feeling about Charlotte. I think they're tough to get away from tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I think. They all look pretty good. I'm getting to quite a bit of pretty much all of Charlotte. I'm a little under the field on Miller, but I'm also over the field on Khan. So I just have quite a bit of those guys. Um, Salon, I think, is at least in play, or Saloon, however you say it.
Yeah.
William for 19 minutes, he's popping as a top DK value. He's nothing. He's not like a smash play, but you can mix him in. I do think he looks okay. And then the center situation is kind of tricky. We have some better looking centers, but you could go to Diabate. I think he's fine, or Calc. I think you could play either of them and feel okay about it. That's pretty much it. It's mainly just the main dudes, though.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, the last time these teams played, we did see Miller get over 40 fantasy points. I do understand why he's chalk here. But yeah, I think Canuple's minutes are a little bit safer. They should both play north of 30, but I think that as a tournament pivot does make a lot of sense. But don't mind the Slew shout either if you do need the value. A few extra minutes for him here, but really good game environment. But let's keep plugging away here. We got one more game that I'm going to refresh the model. Hopefully, we get that Philly stuff before we break that one down. But we get the Cavs here, massive favorites on the road against the Wizards in DC. But the Cavs are going to be without Jared Allen, Sam Merrill, Larry Nance, Max Struess, Luke Travers. So pretty much what we've been dealing with as far as the Cavs depth goes is what we're going to be dealing with here tonight. They do have Garland back, who's playing pretty well. I think he's about priced where he should be. A little bit more popular than I thought he would be coming into this slate. I do think that ownership comes down with some of the value we have opening up in Philly and some of these other places. But yeah, it's a tremendous matchup, right? I think you can make a case for Mitchell. You can make a case for Mobley. But yeah, I mean, there is some blowout concern, and just a little bit of blowout concern to me does have me looking at other spots. But in that same breath, this game does have the highest total on the slate, I believe, at 245 and a half points. If the Wizards could just keep it close, you're probably going to want some of these Cavs in your lineup. So again, I do like Garland. I think he's the easiest to get to, but kind of overowned. I think Mobley and Mitchell look good as tournament plays. Tyson at his price, he kind of feels like Buzelis to me. Like I think the upside's there. He's worth mixing in at low ownership, but I can't say I feel great about it. And then Hunter, I don't know. I'm fine just kind of getting away from that one. But Smitty, how do you feel about the Cavs here? Definitely an appealing matchup, but maybe some blowout risk.
Yeah, 130 point team total is pretty insane. You don't see it that much. Washington's just they're terrible defensively. But it's hard because Garland's been out a lot of the season, so these dudes are priced up. It's not like they're really cheap. So salary wise, it's still kind of tough. I do think Garland, Mitchell, and Mobley all look pretty good. Right now, I have the most of Garland, and then I have like the same of Mitchell and Mobley, a decent amount. And then I do have a little bit of Tyson. I think he's pretty good. The model's kind of picking up on him as a GPP play tonight. So someone I want to mix into my lineups, and he has good positional eligibility as well. That's pretty much it from this team that I'm going to go to.
Yeah, I mean, we do have the guards on the bench, Ball and Porter, but I think they're pretty risky here, just given we have some better value at the position. But you can make a case. Over on the Wizards side, I mean, they are missing a few key pieces. We have no Branham, Koulibaly, Kispert, Middleton, or Sar. So yeah, Justin Champagne probably going to get the start here again. I mean, he's been good in this role. I mean, if this game stays close, he's probably going to hit value pretty easily. Forward is one of the thinner positions tonight, relatively speaking. He's popular, but I think he makes a lot of sense. The model rating him as the best value play, I think, in this entire game. So I do think Champagne's fine. Just make sure he's starting. His minutes are cut significantly when he does come off the bench, so that's definitely worth keeping an eye on. Kaishan George definitely has upside. I don't know that I want to play him at this price against a pretty good defense. CJ McCollum has spiked some pretty big ceilings. I mean, the ownership on FanDuel to me a little bit surprising. I do think he's underpriced at 6,300, but at the same time, unless you're loading up on Cleveland and really leaning into this game, staying close, pretty comfortable coming in under that number. The front court's been tricky. Obviously, no Sar means Bagley's probably going to get the start here again. Coming off a few bad games, we've actually seen Vuk outplaying him off the bench at times. But again, we have other centers on this slate. I don't know that we need to get to either of these two. Probably just a little Champagne for me if he starts. But knowing he's chalk, I'd love to find some pivots if I can. But Smitty, how do you feel about the Wizards?
Yep, pretty similar. I do think he looks okay. I do like getting to pivots too. Not someone I want to be crazy over the field on. If he's starting, I'll definitely feel better about it. They do get Trey Johnson back, which could eat into his minutes. Just they have a lot of dudes available that can eat into his minutes. So I don't think he's safe by any means. McCollum on FanDuel, I think he's okay. Like you said, I kind of think he's slightly overowned, but then on DraftKings, I'd kind of like to be overweight on McCollum to where he's not really getting ownership. Uh, if McCollum gets there, it's normally in a big way. So I do think he's a good tournament play on DraftKings. FanDuel probably a better fade, but I don't mind getting there a little bit. After that, that's pretty much it. I'm getting to a little bit above Carrington, assuming he does start, and then that's pretty much it. I have like a mix of some of these bench dudes, but I'm hoping that goes away.
Yeah, Carrington coming off a huge game, his best of the year. I mean, only 12% usage there. He had 9 assists, which I think is a career high from him. So, really good performance there. We did just get a question about him, which is why I'm kind of talking through that. But if you need him as value, I think it's fine. We got Nick Lovett here saying he likes Kalkbrenner against the Bulls. I don't mind it. It's just he's been splitting minutes with Diabate. He has upside, but definitely a low floor play. Then power here based on Nurse's coach speak. Guessing VJ at the one, Grimes at the two, McCain on the I hate you rotation. So yeah, Nick Nurse is a coach that definitely likes defense. McCain, great offensive player. Not always great on the other end of the ball, but at the same time, I do think against the Pacers, it may not be as necessary to really lock in and have all these guys that are the better defenders starting. So a situation we're keeping an eye on. I was hoping by the time we got to this game, the model would be updated. It's not yet. I mean, we could definitely revisit it, but I do think we want to break this down in order here. So hit refresh one more time. But we'll start on the Pacer side of things. No Tyrese Halliburton. And before I do that, Philly are favorites at home, 222.5 point total here. But no Tyrese Halliburton. Quentin Jackson is questionable. Aaron Naismith, Ben Shepard, and Obi Toppin are all going to be out. So Indy's been tricky lately. I mean, we've seen some pretty decent games out of guys like Netmar, Siakam, Matherin. Those are the three I'd have any interest in. But looking across the slate, this game does have one of the lower totals. And with this team not missing any key pieces that haven't already been out for them, they're priced appropriately for the most part. So really tough to get to them in general. Ethan Thompson's been starting. I mean, he's playing 25 minutes pretty consistently. Don't mind him as a value dart. At the same time, I think we have other options in that range, but don't mind some Thompson. I will say this: it's been cutting into the minutes at TJ McConnell. Thompson getting more run. Furphy back and available. Not that I ever want to play Furphy, but McConnell is losing minutes to these guys. So just keep that in mind if you were interested in him as a value play. But yeah, Smitty, I mean, you can make a case for the starters. I mean, even Huff with forward eligibility makes a little bit of sense. But again, low total, kind of price where they should be. I'm not getting to a ton of these Pacers. How about you?
Yeah, on DraftKings, I actually have zero Pacers. I don't really see the need to play any of them. On FanDuel, I do think Siakam's price is a little bit better. I don't mind getting there a little bit. And then you could always play Matherin and hope for a ceiling. Other than that, it's just kind of tough to get to them when they're pretty much healthy. Nimhard, his price is okay on DraftKings. Like, I don't mind taking shots, but overall, I'm just avoiding this team.
Yep, I'm with you, man. So let's talk through Philly, and just keep in mind, guys, if you are looking at the model here that we have on the screen, Maxi's still in. We're going to have to see this adjust in a little bit, but we can kind of speculate for now. So Philly has Embiid probable, Maxi out, McCain available, Oubre is out, as is Trendon Watford. So it's going to be tricky. I think Power mentioned he was guessing maybe Edgecombe would start at the one, which is certainly a possibility. They have McCain on this roster as a true point guard. I think we could see him get the nod here. Talented young player. They drafted him early a couple years ago, but again, he doesn't play a ton of defense. Not that they necessarily need it here, but if he starts, he's probably going to be my favorite Philly play. Off the bench, he's riskier, but again, with Oubre out, we've already been playing a little bit of Grimes and Edgecombe. Edgecombe, after a huge first few weeks of the year, has definitely come back down to earth, but some extra usage for him could go a really long way. I don't know that they want him really running the point. It's going to be interesting to see what this lineup looks like. So I would rank him behind Grimes just because I don't necessarily know what to expect. Grimes has been a little bit more consistent. We were paying a little bit more for him, but I think those two are going to look excellent. Ranked ahead of both of them, though, I guess will be Paul George. Obviously not a guard truly or listed as such, but he could run this offense. We have him projected for 30 minutes. He was capped a little bit a couple weeks ago, but no longer is that the case. And obviously, if he's going to be shooting more than usual, which we have to assume to be the case with Maxi off the floor, really, really a ton of upside here for Paul George. So George looks excellent. Embiid's interesting because he's cheap enough now that even only playing 28 minutes, he does have some appeal. I'm probably just going to lay off. But again, George looks outstanding. My favorite Philadelphia 76er play, regardless of the starting lineup. If McCain starts, he'd be number two for me. If not, it's going to be Grimes, followed by Edgecombe, then McCain in that order. But those four or even five look really solid. But again, we need this lineup, and I'd love the model to update, but I do imagine Paul George is going to be a core play for us. Who else, Smitty, from Philly, and how much do you like Paul George?
Yeah, it's tough without the starting lineup to really dig in. I do think Edgecombe, McCain both look good. Paul George is the one that we know is going to start. His price on DraftKings is just kind of dumb. Been playing 30 minutes, so I would assume he plays at least 30. It's possible he gets into the 31, 32 range, which would make him even better. But yeah, he looks good on both sides. I think he's a good one. Grimes has good positional eligibility. I like getting there. I don't really want any of the bench dudes. If McCain or Grimes, if one of them comes off the bench, I will have some interest in them. But other than that, I don't really want to play like anybody else on this big of a slate. So yeah, it's mainly just the main dudes. I think Embiid looks decent, and then Edge comes probably my favorite, assuming he starts. That could also be McCain. So it's kind of tough without the lineup.
Yeah, and I do think if McCain starts, Edgecombe is still going to start next to him. It's a question of whether Grimes or McCain gets the start, I think. We're probably going to see Edgecombe in there either way. But again, it's a fluid situation. They also have Kyle Lowry on that team. I don't know. They could just troll and throw him in as the starter. And if they do, personally, I just wouldn't play him at all. Just get to more George, get to more Grimes, get to more Edgecombe. But yeah, a situation we'll keep an eye on, guys. We will refresh them on a little bit. Definitely going to keep an eye on that lineup if it does come through. But let's keep plugging away here. I'll take a quick look at the chat because we're through the 7 o'clock games now, about to go into the 8 o'clock window. Power is going to translate for you here, Smitty. He says, the only wizard I play is the Wizard of Oz. So old reference there. Not your best joke, Power. You're usually on point. I want to play MPJ, but Dallas doesn't allow threes. We'll get to that one a little bit. I do like MPJ on DK tonight. I think he's a little too cheap, but I love to talk about my Nets. But first game here at 8 o'clock, we got the Jazz taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. John Morant's going to be back tonight. We're probably going to start on the Utah side, though. They're underdogs here on the road. This game does have a very high total, 243.5 points. Two teams that play pretty quick, and their defense is not great, especially over here on the Utah side of things. They're going to be out without Walker Kessler. Other than that, bunch of G leaguers. I mean, Toshibwe, Hendricks are listed here. They haven't really been all that relevant this season. But yeah, I mean, good matchup here for Utah. And I think Laurie at his price looks pretty good. Definitely fine getting to him. A little bit under owned, in my opinion. Ace Bailey, a guy scoring dependent, but he's been taking a ton of shots. The minutes for him have been more consistent lately, over 30 minutes in back to back games. I don't mind getting to him. Again, a little bit more popular than I thought he would be. Keontae George, another guy you could get to. Those three are probably my favorites. Filipowski's had some big games, but they're getting Nurkic back here tonight. I think that's going to cut into his ceiling in a big way. So proceed with caution there. But Lori, Bailey, George, in that order, I do have some interest in. We had Power in the Discord today asking about Walter Clayton. I think we have enough value now that we don't necessarily need to go there. But if you're desperate for value, he's probably going to play 25 minutes and take, I don't know, 6, 7 shots. So maybe. But yeah, I do like George, Lori, Ace. Those are the three I'm kind of keying in on here. Smitty, how about you when it comes to the Utah Jazz?
Yeah, pretty similar. I do think this game's probably pretty competitive, so I don't mind getting to Laurie or any of these guys. Like Ace Bailey, I think looks pretty good. We've seen him close in a blowout too, so I would say his minutes are pretty safe. Keontae, Laurie, I think are both high upside options that you can mix in tournaments. And then I am getting to a little bit of Walter Clayton, just cheap, and he has shooting guard eligibility, so I don't mind that. That's pretty much it. It's mainly just them four that I'm getting to. Filipowski, he was getting ownership early in the day. It's kind of went down now. I don't really see a reason to play him, but you could mix him in. He has
Yeah.
power forward eligibility.
Yeah, I mean, he could get there, but I think with Laurie back and healthy and Nurk as well, he's going to have to lose a few minutes. But Memphis, speaking of front courts, going to be without Zach Edey, dealing with an injury. We mentioned already John Morant's going to be back. Ty Jerome's out. John Conchar's out. Still no Scottie Pippen. Olivier or Maxime Prosper is questionable. This is kind of interesting. We'll talk about the front court here in a minute, and then Javon Small is going to be out. So one of the most popular plays on the slate tonight is Jock Landale. I think regardless of whether Maxime Prosper is available or not, we're still going to see Landale get the start. I mean, we've seen some huge games out of him as the starter. We've seen some kind of not so great games out of him as the starter. I do think the price on DK, or you could play two centers, he's tough to get away from, right? 3,700, one of the top value plays in the model here today, 18.6 value score on DK. Scoring pretty well on FanDuel as well, I'll say, at 16.4, but 42% owned, and he's more expensive. Definitely more comfortable trying to play other centers on FanDuel than I am over on DK. Again, I like Landell. I just think he has a wide range of outcomes. There is some leverage maybe going to Aldama, but Aldama's popular here as well, likely coming off the bench. I don't mind it. I just think he's a bit overowned as well. And then Coward, I mean, everyone loves playing this guy, but he seems to be capped at 28 minutes. So, while I do like his upside with Morant coming back, if he's losing usage, I don't know. As much as I like this spot for Memphis, I feel like most of this team's overowned outside of Landell on DK. So, Smitty, how are you breaking down the Grizzlies here? I think the field maybe is getting this wrong if we're on point with these ownership projections.
Yeah, I like Landale quite a bit. He's pretty tough to avoid, especially on DraftKings, like you mentioned, where you can play two centers. FanDuel, I could see getting away from it. He's been a lot better recently, though. So um, in smaller field, I'd probably just lock him in, or not lock him in, but
Yeah.
play a lot of them, especially even on FanDuel. Aldama probably runs the backup center. So I do think he's pretty good. His minutes should be pretty good. Like you mentioned with Coward, I'm not really that interested. I'm getting to a little bit, but I'm playing multiple lineups. If I was just playing a couple, he wouldn't make it for me. The one I could kind of see in tournaments is Jalen Wells. Been playing better. Normally wouldn't vouch for him, but only 9% ownership seems like a pretty decent pivot off of some of the other value plays. And not touching Jaron Jackson. They do get John Morant back. I don't know how his minutes will be. So not super excited there, but could eat at some of the other dudes like Cam Spencer. So overall, not excited about anyone else. Mainly just Landale and Aldama for me.
Yeah, those are really the only two I have interest in here as well. And you mentioned Wells, and he has been playing really well. But to your point, with Jaw coming back, I think he's going to lose some usage. And Spencer has been awesome off the bench. If Jaw was out today, that was going to be a big tournament play for me. But with Jaw back in, I just can't do it. Again, we have a pretty big slate tonight, few options to go to, so we don't have to force some of these bench guys like we have been on these two gamers. Nice, fun game here between my Brooklyn Nets and Cooper Flag's Dallas Mavericks. On the Nets, Cam Thomas is out and very much in trade discussions right now. No Haywood Highsmith. Other than that, really just G Leaguers, Ben Saroff, a few other guys. Nothing really that we need to dig into. So we had someone bring up that Dallas has been pretty good about defending the three. At the same time, I do think Porter Jr. is underpriced on DK, only 26% owned. I actually think that's low. I mean, this guy has gone for 55 plus fantasy points in three straight games. He's playing as many minutes as anyone on this roster, taking all the usage when he's on the floor. 30 plus usage in all three of those games as well. And this is a decent matchup. I mean, Dallas's defense has obviously improved with Anthony Davis on the floor. Cooper Flag, pretty good defender, but overall, I do think this game can be competitive enough for Porter to play his full minutes and hit that ceiling that we've been seeing from him. So, really do like him on DK. On FanDuel, he's 1K more expensive, and while that does feel a bit inflated, I think in tournaments you could get there. Again, if you're getting 50 plus out of your 9K players, usually that's a good thing. So I don't mind that. Claxton's fine where he's priced. I mean, not the best matchup against AD. He's been playing extremely well. Again, we always like playing Claxton when Porter is available. Those games that Porter rests when they're tanking or whatever, maybe come off the Claxton train. But right now, sub 10% owned on both sites. Fine mixing him in. Clowney a little bit overpriced. He's been playing excellent. Igor, I mean, I don't know. With Porter in, I'm just not getting to much else. The punt is Danny Wolf. I mean, Jewish Nikola Jokic is people have been calling him, and Draymond Green actually went on a rant about it, which is pretty funny, saying, "Why are we comparing everyone to Jokic?" Yeah, I think with the price increase and this team healthy, he's kind of tough to get to. Porter's really just the only guy I'm going to get to much here. Maybe a little bit of Claxton. As much as I like this team, not the best night for them necessarily. Pretty healthy coming off a break. A little MPJ for me, Smitty. How about you? Any Nets love for you tonight in Dallas?
Yeah, I like MPJ quite a bit. I like him on DraftKings and FanDuel. FanDuel, I'm overweight, only 7%. Seems pretty incorrect. DraftKings, I'm over the field, so I'm pretty heavy on MPJ. Nick Claxton, I do think's a pretty solid play. It's basically just them two. Like you said, prefer Claxton when MPJ is out there. 6,900 on DraftKings just kind of seems like appropriately priced. So I don't think he's like a jam, but I think he's a pretty solid play regardless.
Yep, right there with you, man. Definitely on the same page when it comes to the Nets. Over on the Dallas side of things, Dante Exum's out. Cooper Flag is available. His thumb's in a splint. I don't think that matters much. Daniel Gafford is doubtful. Derek Lively is out. And D'Lo was actually a late downgrade today, so he's now questionable. Usually when we get those late downgrades, it's a bad sign. It means he's not going to be involved. He's also kind of fallen on hard times in terms of Jason Kidd's point guard depth chart here. So we've been seeing Ryan Nemhard getting starts. I think he's going to start again here tonight. I have no reason not to think he will. He looks excellent. I mean, he's coming off two shaky games, but he played the two best defenses in the NBA in Houston and OKC. Really fine getting to a bunch of Ryan Nemhard here on DK where he's 4,800. Definitely tougher to do over on FanDuel at 56, but definitely a player I have circled here as an under tournament option. Cooper Flag, fine where he's priced. AD, kind of, again, tale of two sites, right? I think he looks really good over on DK, not so good on FanDuel. There's other options in that range I prefer, especially with PJ Washington coming back, who's missed a few games that we've seen some of these ceiling games out of AD and Flag in. So Dallas is it's a great matchup for him. Total's a little bit lower than I was expecting, and I would be remiss not to mention that there are rumors Klay Thompson broke up with Mike the Stallion, catching or cheating today. Does that inspire him or completely crush him? Who knows? But if you're really into narratives, maybe that one's for you. I'm not playing Clay either way, but just something I had to bring up just to stay on brand. But yeah, I like Nemhard a lot on DK. I like AD enough to get there, and I think you could play a little Flag or Washington on both sides. Smitty, how do you feel about Dallas?
Yeah, I think AD is a pretty good pivot on DraftKings to some of the other high priced forwards that are getting ownership, like a Jalen Johnson. He's $1,000 less. Uh, has similar upside. Like we've seen him go for 70. It's kind of been a while, but I do think he's a pretty good pivot. Other than that, getting to a little bit of PJ, and then the Brandon Williams, Ryan Nimhard thing, I think is pretty interesting. It's not a huge slate, so I think you could play either one of them. Brandon Williams' minutes become a little bit more secure. Same with Nimhard without D'Lo. So I do think both of them are pretty interesting. Brandon Williams only 4K. I do think you could take some tournament shots on him as well as Nimhard. None of this team really getting very much ownership.
Yeah, good point on Williams. I'm glad you brought him up. And again, even coming off the bench, he's actually been producing more so than Nemhard has these past couple of games. But I think in a good matchup against a soft defense, we'll see the starter usually outplay the backup. But if D'Lo's out, they're both playable. And again, I always mention this with Dallas. Kid keeps all of these point guards on a short leash. Like if they blow a coverage or they mess up, like he'll bench a point guard really quick and throw someone else in there. But if they only have two to choose from, definitely boost the floor of both of these guys. Moving into the late game now, then I will do a quick refresh to see what we get for Philly. Haven't seen any really significant news come in otherwise. This late game only on the FanDuel slate, so keep that in mind. We get the Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Golden State Warriors. Minnesota, no Anthony Edwards. He's out with right foot soreness. Mike Conley, someone who maybe could have seen more minutes with him out, is going to be out here as well. So what that tells me is definitely Dante DiVincenzo is someone we're going to want to be getting to a little bit. Julius Randle probably going to see a nice big boost at 8,200 with no Edwards on the floor. I like him a lot. Surprised he's not drawing even more ownership. You can make a case for Gobert. You can make a case for McDaniels. We always talk about how Gobert's good against softer front courts, and no Draymond Green is definitely going to be a boost for him here, in my opinion. We'll talk about Golden State in just a minute, but Naz Reid off the bench looks pretty good here as well. I think Minnesota's under-owned. I think part of it is just that this is an island game on FanDuel. But yeah, man, DiVincenzo looks excellent. I know we had someone here bring it up. Yeah, Shui Dog saying, yeah, he looks like good value for sure, man. I'm right there with you. But this team in general looks great, man. No Ant, definitely going to see a boost. Bit softer of a matchup, too, with no Dre on the floor. How you feeling about Minnesota here going into Golden State?
Yeah, a lot of usage to go around. Still a pretty tight spread here, so I do expect this to be a pretty good game. Dante is who I'm getting to the most of currently on FanDuel, followed by Randall. I think those are my two favorite plays. Like you said, I like Randall quite a bit. You can also get the savings off of some of the more expensive forwards there. Nas Reed's also in line for more minutes plus extra usage, so do like him quite a bit. He's been playing good. Yeah, it's mainly those three. Jaden McDaniels, I think you could definitely mix in. And then Rudy's kind of just whatever. If I get there a little bit, I'm okay with it, but not someone I feel the need to really force in.
Yep, right there with you, man. Golden State, I already mentioned it. No Draymond Green tonight. No Al Horford either. Trace Jackson Davis is listed as probable. We had a comment here. Post minutes have been increased the last three games. Like him as a value pick. Yeah, he's probably going to get the start at center again. No Draymond or Al Horford. The price is up on him now. But yeah, if you're looking for a pivot off of Chalky Landell, I don't think it's crazy to get to a little bit of post at center. Curry first came back. Tough to know what to expect. We have him for 30 minutes. I think he's fine at 8,300, which is where he's on the main slate on FanDuel. But at the same time, not rushing to get there. Obviously, first game back from injury could be on somewhat of a limit. Haven't heard word on that at all yet. Butler, fine at his price. Again, no Draymond helps him a little bit. I think Buddy Hield's okay. Pat Spencer has been like the man, but we got to kind of keep in mind that with Steph coming back, he's probably going to see his minutes cut. Back down to 21 is where we have him. I still think he's viable, but with the price increase, kind of tough to get to. Maybe if you're playing the late slate on DK, I'd have a bit more interest. But yeah, I think post looks okay. I'm fine getting to some Butler. You can make a case for Spencer. It's a tricky situation with all the moving parts here in Golden State, Smitty. How are you breaking down the Warriors?
Yeah, pretty similar. I find it pretty hard to get to anybody. Steph's my highest exposed currently on FanDuel, and I only have 5%, so clearly just not getting to much of this team. But Steph and Jimmy are the only two I'd really play. You can make an argument for post, but on FanDuel, that price is pretty rough. More so would be for like DraftKings late slate.
Yeah. We got some comments here. Power, this is much better than your Wizard of Oz comment. Clay's a dummy. Chick's name is the Stallion. Well, she watched his latest games and knows he's about to play in Canada pretty soon. So there you go. And then we get a lot of questions here about Landell, and I think it's worth talking about. Schmid saying, is he good for cash and GPP? Definitely good for cash. I think in GPP, you could play him, but there are ownership pivots. And Smitty, do you want to touch on this a little bit more? We also, before I throw it over to you, have this comment from Power Center. Watch him go Stanty at the 4, JJ at the 5. I still think they play Jock either way. I think Landell's going to start at the 5. If anything, Wells would maybe come off the bench. But yeah, I think they like Santi coming off the bench more often than not, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. The thing with Jock is he's been in this situation, right? Edie was out for much of the early part of the season. You mentioned it; he's been playing better lately. I do think Ja being in there is good for him as well. Run a little bit of pick and roll stuff like that. But yeah, someone else mentioned, I think it was Luke, Landell probably doesn't close. So just keep that in mind. It probably will be Aldama closing. But regardless, I do like Landell on DK just because you can play two centers and he's sub 4K. There's not much sub 4K tonight to even consider. Getting a starting center we have for 25 minutes is tough to get away from. More of a conversation on FanDuel, Smitty. I'll throw it over to you. But Landell, definitely a point of contention today.
Yeah, I think on DraftKings, I'm more so okay with it. Just you look at like some of the cheap value options in his price range, and you kind of have to decide if they look better than Landale. For me, it's a starting center in a good matchup, so it's pretty tough to avoid. And he's been in this situation, like you said. Edie's been out a lot of the year, and they played him pretty solid minutes. Uh, Aldama probably does close. It just kind of depends how the game's going too. We could see Landale close, which would make it even better. But even if Landale don't close, he'd have to have a pretty bad game to not pay off his price tag on DK. FanDuel, where you only get one center, you can make a lot more of an argument for it. You have like Embiid that's probably underpriced. You could also play Aldama at center. And then you have like a Vooch, Durant. There's a lot of guys you could play on FanDuel where I think you could get a little different. You need more when there's only one center, even if he's cheap. So I still like him on FanDuel, but like you said, I don't mind mixing it up some more.
Nice. Yep. Good coverage there. We did get the model to update Philly. I don't know if this is the final update. We could see some changes, especially once that starting lineup comes out. But right now, it has Edgecombe as the top value on both sites. Paul George as the most popular play on both sites, but it's interesting. Quentin Grimes kind of down on the page. A little bit surprising to me that he isn't getting a little bit more love here in the model. And then someone I didn't expect to pop so much is Dominic Barlow. Probably going to see a little bit of extra usage, but I don't know. I'd say proceed with caution on him. No one's really getting there. McCain, I think that number, his scores and everything here could come up a little bit if he's announced the starter. But if it's Edgecombe at the one, I agree with the model. I think he's the best. But for me, George is the safest and the easiest play to get to here. Smitty, you want to just rant on Philly one more time, and then we'll get into these dummy builds.
Yeah. I think George looks good. I'm getting to quite a bit of Edgecombe right now. I'm trying to kind of maneuver that to mix it up a little bit more. Grimes, I'm good with. I think Grimes looks pretty good. And then FanDuel, I'm not getting to as much George, but DraftKings at price is pretty bad. Still don't mind McCain even off the bench. FanDuel, pretty tough to get there at his price, but if he don't start, but on DraftKings, I think you could play him.
Yep. Yeah, the lineup could change things. I mean, even if McCain comes off the bench, there are a few different ways they could go here. But we'll talk about it if we do get that news. But let's go ahead and start these dummy builds. Starting on DK, you said it. The Paul George price is just wrong. I thought he was already appealing even with Baxi in, so we could go ahead and get to that. I think I'll throw a couple others in here, Smitty, to make it easy. We got KJ Simpson. Um, if you disagree with someone, feel free. But I think it's
Nah,
the starting point guard here. Yeah, dirt cheap. He's tough to get away from. Throw
Landell,
some names at me, man.
probably throw Jock in there.
Yeah, definitely.
Edgecombe, Miller, I think are both pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. And they fill out the top positions here in these 7 o'clock games, makes it easy to build late. Still left with 77 per. We really don't have a single true pay up yet. Do you want to get Johnson? Do you want to get Cut coming
Yeah,
in? Is there anyone else you really
yeah.
like?
Let's go, Jalen Johnson.
Yeah, I think that's the logical move. 6,300 left per. We could go two centers. I mean, I don't know. There's some decent guards in this range. I'll say McCain starts. I'd probably go him here. If not, I mean, we got Grimes. We got Con Canoopel.
Yeah, yeah. We could go
Con,
Con.
I like that. And then 6K flat for utility. It's going to land us not playing Drummond, not playing Nurkic. Yeah, maybe we have to pivot. I mean,
Let's go.
Aldama, not crazy. I wouldn't even mind playing him with Landell. They could be on the floor together, but maybe if we downgraded Khan slightly to say, I don't know, Nemhard or Williams. Let's
Yeah,
see what Nemhard gets us. Something like this. I mean, Duren, I don't mind. Keontae George, we got Bridges. So this is a little bit easier, but you guys see where we're headed for the most part. Outside of those two positions, kind of this is where our core would be. All right, over on FanDuel, since this game is FanDuel only, let's start with Minnesota. Like, I think DiVincenzo and Randall are both excellent. Um, but yeah, start throwing some names at me, man. I'm happy to plug them in.
yep. Let's see. FanDuel, probably VJ again. Edgecombe.
Yep.
Well, my FanDuel's all weird. We could go if we want to throw Jock. I like Brandon Miller.
Yeah, let's keep with Miller. I'm with you on that one for sure. I mean, I do like Jock, but I don't know. I think there's, like you said, in low risk, I would just plug him in. But I think we have other centers that
Yeah,
are pretty underpriced here. Um, I don't hate the spot for Gobert. I don't think Post is crazy. Neither feels safe. Um,
Embiid's pretty cheap.
yeah, Embiid at 7K with the stock upside. Even if he plays 28, should get there. Who else?
After that is what do we have? Point guard and forwards.
One, two point guards, and then one of each forward. I could sort by ownership, see what chalk is here. I mean, we have George Grimes. We have neither. I mean, let's go George. Other George. Um,
I like
point guard. I
Okongwu.
mean, we. Who?
Okongwu, power forward.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I like that. Since we're probably not going to afford Johnson in this one.
Yeah,
Then yeah, 6,200 per for guard. I mean, that's not bad.
I'll go.
And Garland's okay. Alexander Walker looks okay. Simpson again, a little bit more expensive over here, but Still probably gets close to value. Or do you want to go Williams? Is he 4K flat? I don't mind that. Or 48. Yeah, not terrible.
Could do worse, yeah.
Throw Cooper or Keontae in there, something like this. But yeah, Williams definitely low owned though, so keep that in mind, guys. But he's been playing really well, and he'll have some scoring opportunity off the bench. MPJ and Vooch or Miller and VJ? How would you handle that one, Smitty?
Uh, Probably Miller and VJ.
Yeah, I think that's the higher floor. Vuk is just tough to trust. Power on fire since his one questionable joke. Calling him Dominic the Bar is low. Indeed, JJJ or George FanDuel, absolutely George. Whether it's Paul or Keontae for me, I'm not touching JJJ right now. You with me there, Smitty?
Yeah, yep.
I think that's an easy one. As always, Nick and Smitty appreciate you. We appreciate all of you for tuning in, guys. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, check out the links in the description below. We got the new multi-lineup builder if you're looking to get into some MME here. We also have, is it you or Jayhawk today in Discord?
Jayhawk.
Got to be Jayhawk. Yeah, we're going over. Jayhawk's probably going live right now, talking through lineups. We'll have that Philly lineup soon, but you could always pick our brains in there. And yeah, guys, I'm going to plug myself. I'm going live here again in just an hour and a half. Last UFC card of the year. Going to be plugging through for DFS. So if you're around, nothing to do on a Friday night, tune in. Let's talk some fights. But otherwise, looking forward to tonight's slate. Back having a decent number of games, Smitty. Any last words before we get out of here?
No, it feels good to have a real slate. But good luck tonight.
Love it. Have fun, everyone. Take care. Good luck.